So hello and welcome to Knives Out. This is the big India Today conclave debate. 10 years after the Modi government came to power, one of the biggest questions in our country is whether secularism is dying on the watch of the Modi Sarkar. That's the motion we will debate today. Allow me to introduce you to our speakers and explain the rules of the contest. Each of our speakers will have 3 minutes. There is a buzzer that will go off at the end of the 3 minutes. There's a countdown clock in front, so they have exactly 3 minutes to speak. So it's not like a TV debate where they can go on and on and on, and then they're not out of the control of the anchor and the moderator. After 3 minutes, the buzzer just goes off. So they have exactly 3 minutes to speak. And also, the debaters will be judged not just for the content that they put out, but for the style of performance, the theater, the drama, the delivery. It's not just the content. We have a very distinguished jury. The jury will be sitting here. And these are great debaters themselves. However, the jury will not tell us what they think. We don't want to know what their views are at this moment. They have to pick on the arguments of each of the debaters, what they liked, what they didn't like, logical fallacies in what the speaker said, and play a role in shaping the debate. So you have opening comments for 3 minutes, you have 1 round of interjection, then the jury speaks, and then we have 1 minute of concluding comments. And then all of you have a very important role because you have to vote who won. So there is this QR code that's in front of you. It'll also be on the screen. Basically, this is a URL that you go to and you decide who won, right? So there's a question, secularism is dead in India. Not basis your own opinion ideally, but basis what you've heard from these two teams. You determine and decide who you thought won. So just play your role in helping decide who won this contest. So with all that said, allow me to introduce you to our debaters. We'll do this one by one. Can we begin by welcoming on stage the pugnacious young spokesperson of the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party? Can we have a round of applause for Shehzad Poonawala, please? Our first debater at the Knives Out conclave debate. Come, Shehzad. Speaking for the motion and representing the opposition Congress Party, can we welcome its national spokesperson, Shama Mohammad. Can we have a round of applause for Shama, please? Our next speaker in Shehzad's team, my college sparring partner, Hindol Sengupta. Can we have a round of applause for Hindol, please? He's an author, analyst, used to be a fierce debater. Let's see if he still got it. Come, Hindol. Now, coming down all the way from Kolkata, from the Trinamool Congress, is its spokesperson, Riju Datta. He's big on the Kolkata debating scene. Let's see what talent he's brought to Delhi. Can we have a round of applause for Riju Datta, please? Our next speaker, and remember, we wanted to make this interesting and not just very predictable, is someone who used to be a fierce, trenchant critic of the Modi Sarkar and has now found and seen new light. Can we have a round of applause for Shehla Rashid, please? Human rights activist from Kashmir, very strong one-time critic of the Modi government, now is talking a different tune. Come, Shehla. Our last speaker, who almost didn't make it, but almost in the end just did. Can we have a round of applause for our former colleague, journalist and author and analyst, Ashutosh. Gave us a bit of a scare, but made it in the end. Ashutosh, welcome. So that's it, 3 versus 3. Unlike a college or university debate where you know the people you're debating with, here we've taken 3 different people, put them together, made them into a team. Now they need to either sink or swim together. So best of luck to all of you. Now I want to introduce you to our very eminent jury. I want to introduce first Aryama Sundaram. Aryama Sundaram is one of the country's senior-most lawyers, one of the sharpest legal eagles, and a very fine debater himself. He's never missed court on a Friday afternoon. And therefore, he's made a great effort to come here, and we're very thankful for that. Aryama Sundaram, welcome. A very sharp debater himself, this time without his political robe, but only as a thinker and analyst. Can we have a round of applause for former member of Parliament of the Rajya Sabha, BJP spokesperson, author and analyst, Swapan Das Gupta. Swapan Da, can we have a round of applause, please? And our last member of the jury, just so that it gives a feel of being a serious debate, which it is actually, is Deepak Verma. He's the president of the Debating Society of India and a very fine debater himself. So can we have a round of applause for Deepak Verma, please? Deepak, welcome. So I said earlier that we won't tell you who speaks first, okay? There are two teams. The teams need to decide who speaks first. So I hope they've made up their minds. Let's call the first speaker who will speak for the motion that secularism is dying in India. Are you ready? अरे पहले decide करके आना चाहिए था, इतनी देर वहाँ क्या कर रहे थे? Okay. See, I'm saying this is where teamsmanship comes out. And whether they've got a plan, not got a plan. Here, Riju. They have only 3 minutes. They can't go on any more than that. So here it is. 1, 2, Trinamool spokesperson Riju Datta speaking for the motion to explain why he thinks secularism is dying on the watch of the Modi government. Riju, go.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all. Let me start off by quoting one of the tallest leaders of BJP this country has ever seen, Bharat Ratna Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. And he said, सरकारें आएंगी, सरकारें जाएंगी, पार्टियां बनेंगी, पार्टियां बिगड़ेंगी, पर ये देश रहना चाहिए और इस देश का संविधान रहना चाहिए. And secularism is dying in this country, and remember, constitution is at the stake. Secularism is dying in India. How do you know that? You know secularism is dying in India when the Prime Minister participates in consecrating a new temple and Mamata Banerjee has to take out a multi-faith rally to reaffirm our faith in the secularity of this country. You know secularism is dying in this country when the ruling party does not have a single Muslim member of parliament. You know secularism is dying in this country when the ruling party does not care about Article 14, 15, and 21 of the Constitution in their desperate bid to push our ethno-religious nationalist ideology of Hindutva. You know secularism is dying in this country जब आपके मुंह में है राम पर आपके दिल में है नथुराम. You know secularism is dying in this country when Jai Shri Ram from a warm greeting becomes a lynching war cry. You know secularism is dying in India when a justice of Calcutta High Court cannot differentiate between the apostle of Hindu-Muslim unity Mahatma Gandhi and a cold-blooded murderer Nathuram Godse. You know secularism is dying in this country when a Tablighi gathering is termed as terrorists spreading corona during lockdown, whereas the Kumbh Mela gets a go-ahead. You know secularism is dying in this country when a law which is unconstitutional, undemocratic, like CAA, is implemented on the country, where religion chooses or religion decides whether you are a citizen of this country or a refugee. How can religion be a fundamental definition of identity in this country? You know secularism is dying when the ruling government practices theocracy and not secularism. You know secularism is dying in this country when BJP, because of their brute majority, practices majoritarianism. What I mean by that is one temple, one God, one food, one religion, one nation, one election, one language, one party, and one leader. And when majoritarianism triumphs, secularism dies, and with that dies the ethos of India. These moments like this, it remembers me. I remember the last two lines of Rahul Tindori Sahab. सभी का खून है शामिल यहाँ की मिट्टी में, हिंदुस्तान किसी के बाप की थोड़ी है. And I'll just finish off by saying, there is one politician in this country, Mamata Banerjee, who's the definition of secularism. She celebrates Durga Puja, she celebrates Eid, she celebrates Buddha Purnima, she celebrates Guru Nanak Jayanti. And I hope and pray for the sake of our future generations that what Bengal thinks today, India will think tomorrow. Thank you very much.
It's good to debate, and it's good also to score some political brownie points with your boss. So Riju Datta, well done for that. Thank you very much. Our first debater, who argues that secularism is dying because religion determines whether or not you can be a citizen of this country. I want to call upon now our first speaker speaking against this motion to talk about why Secularism is not dying, and the team speaking against the motion has chosen, interestingly, Shaila Rashid to come and tell us why secularism is not dying. Shehzad says this is Nari Shakti. I see some strategic mind games at play as well. So it gets interesting. Shaila Rashid, who once epitomized what was wrong with this government and spoke out very strongly, please explain why you think secularism is not dying in India. Your time, Shaila, starts now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Secularism in India has never meant dharm nirpekshta. Our constitution, for example, provides that minority institutions can receive state grants. We are not secular in the sense that the West is, or God forbid, China is. Indian secularism was always about Sarva Dharm Sambhav. And when the new parliament building was inaugurated, ceremonial prayers of all faiths were held there, including Islam. So I ask, if the Prime Minister of my country, why should he have to be ashamed of being a Hindu? If I am proud to be a Muslim, why can't Prime Minister Modi be a proud Hindu? I ask you. Secularism means treating everyone on merit. A Muslim cricketer recently got the Arjun Award. A Muslim educationist got the Padma Shri. A Muslim lady is in charge of space programs such as Aditya and Chandrayaan. That is secularism. Secularism means that the state does not discriminate against anyone. Nobody is turned away from a common service center on account of their faith. Secularism means that we need to think beyond our communities, and I as a Muslim, you as a Hindu, you need to think about what will take our nation forward. That is secularism. When we uplift ourselves, we uplift our communities and we uplift our nation. Many people accuse past governments of appeasement. Now, I would like to disagree with this view because at the peak of the so-called golden era of secularism, we had the Sachar Committee report saying that Muslims are doing worse than SC and ST communities. This is now being rectified through schemes such as PM Awas Yojana, PM Mudra Yojana, PM Kisan Samman Nidhi Yojana, which are benefiting Muslims largely. At the height of the so-called golden age of secularism, if some of you remember, we used to have terror blasts. We used to have incarceration of Muslim youth. We used to have POTA, TADA, UAPA. Now look at the last 10 years. There is peace in Kashmir. There is peace outside Kashmir. Terrorist incidents have reduced. There is fear of law. There is rule of law. And who does that benefit? That definitely benefits the minorities. In Kashmir, in the last 4 or 5 years, lives are being saved. Who are these people whose lives are being saved? They are Muslim. So is the government not saving lives of Muslims by taking a strong stance against terror, by ensuring that there is fear of law, by ensuring that there is rule of law? Yes, it is. So I ask you, when we say that the secularism is dying, let's take a moment to recall what the golden age of the secularism looked like. Thank you very much.
Okay, can we have a round of applause for Shaila Rashid for arguing why she thinks secularism is not dying in India? Very nice. Good to see camaraderie, teamsmanship. Now for our next speaker, have you decided who speaks first? Because you seem to be deciding on the fly, but that's fine too. Pehle aap going on. Can we have a round of applause for Shama Muhammad to come and speak about why she thinks secularism is dying in India? And this is a very quiet audience. Please feel free to show your love, affection, brick bats, do whatever. Just don't throw anything at us. You got some food on your table, okay? Don't throw anything. Apart from that, you can make as much noise as you want when you hear something you like or hear something you don't like. Shama Muhammad, tell us, why is secularism dying in India? Your time starts now.
In 1961, Jawaharlal Nehru said, we talk about a secular state in India. In Hindi, perhaps we cannot find a word for secular. Some people think it means something opposed to religion. That is obviously not correct. What it means is that a state which honors all religions equally and gives them equal opportunities. Nehru's secularism never mixed religion with politics or elections. He sought to prevent Indian politicians from exploiting religion for political gains and sanctioned those who promoted religious polarization. Although it has been unevenly enforced, Section 123 of the Representation of People's Act 1951, the law that guides the conduct of elections in India, forbids politicians from campaigning on religious themes. Fast forward to today, what do we see? The present Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, invokes religion at every possible opportunity. Not an election speech goes by where he's not talking about mandir or talking about gods. The most dangerous thing is the ecosystem created by the present dispensation. Now, what do I mean by the ecosystem? Let me give you an example. In 2019, Pragya Thakur, inside the parliament, said, God se desh bhakta hai aur rahega. He is a terrorist, God say, for us. And what did the Prime Minister do? He said, Main kabhi maaf nahi karunga. But then, what did he do? Nothing. She continued as a member of parliament. What do the people of India think? This is a norm. It doesn't matter. That is the ecosystem. When Bilkis Banu's rapists were released, C.K. Rolji, a BJP MLA, who was part of the state government and panel that recommends their remission to all the 11 men found guilty, said some of the convicts in the Gujarat 2002 riots are Brahmins with secular sanskar and values. They may be fixed due to their past family activities. Did the Prime Minister of India condemn it? No, he did not. So what happens to the ecosystem? What happens to the Janta? They think this is the norm. BJP leaders like Kapil Mishra says, Goli maro salo ko. Who is the salo? The Muslim minority. Did the Prime Minister of India condemn it? Say something about it? No. Then what happens to the Janta? They think, ye to norm hai. Sahi bola hoga. Hate speech is not fringe anymore, it is the norm. In 2023, India documented 668 hate speeches that targeted Muslims. In the 2022 report on international religious freedom highlighted continued targeted attacks on religious minorities, including Christians, Muslims, Sikhs, Dalits, and indigenous communities. Narendra Modi says, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. But he also says, those indulging in arson can be recognized by their clothes. हमें उसे कपड़े से पहचानते हैं. उसका मतलब क्या है? उसका मतलब क्या है? 86% of the
sorry,
people
Shama,
killed.
I know you've got lots of pages. No, but there's no more time. You can't speak anymore. It's
Just
fine.
one last thing.
I'm sorry,
I just want to say,
that's why your time ends.
India is not
You
at
could end up
crossroads today.
getting
It is at
negative
the
marks
brink.
for your team,
The
Shama.
2024
no
Lok
time
Sabha
left.
elections will determine whether India remains a
problem-
secular democracy
The
or an
problem
autocratic
is,
one-party.
this is not a television show, so you can't browbeat or bully the anchor, unfortunately. Fortunately for me, actually. But your time's up. Shama, thank you very much. That was Shama Mohammed speaking and trying to explain why secularism is dying. She had so many pages written out. I got a little concerned that, oh my God, what's going to happen to the rest? But then the buzzer goes off, so that's the amount of time that you have. So thank you, Shama, for that. Calling upon next speaker to speak about why Shehzad Poonawalla is being very charitable and chivalrous. Pehle aap. Oh, you've decided, teamsmanship spirit here. Okay, Shehzad's taking charge and showing teamsmanship. Okay, Hindol Sen Gupta comes up next to explain why secularism is not dying in India. Hindol, are you set? Your time starts now.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. If truly secularism was dead in India, would we be having a debate in a five-star hotel about secularism? Do note, ladies and gentlemen, that if secularism was truly dead, would I be the only Hindu member of a team with two other Muslim members defending the fact that secularism is not dead? I put to you this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I put to you that my colleagues, debaters, are so fascinated at scoring points about their, or for and against their political masters, that they've forgotten that the real topic of today's debate is secularism dead in India? What India are we talking about, ladies and gentlemen? Is it the same India that one of my debaters mentioned that his party head had to take a rally out when the Ram temple was built? Well, I would argue that she could take a rally out against the Ram temple in India proves that secularism is not dead, ladies and gentlemen. It is exactly the reverse. It is exactly the reverse, I put to you. I want to say to my colleague, you come from the same city which organizes one of the biggest Christmas festivals in the world in Park Street, where I spent my childhood, and you still argue secularism is dead? That's not fair, ladies and gentlemen. I put to you that when you look at a debating topic like this, you must think
as an Indian, not as a party person. And what is this India? It is the same India where only 6 years ago, ladies and gentlemen, Asia's biggest church was built in the same India in Nagaland. It is the same India where for the first time a woman parliamentarian from India who's not Muslim can go to Medina and have many Muslim commentators around the world, including Hassan Surur, say that this is an epochal moment in the history of Islam. It's the same India. Secularism is not dead. Quite on the contrary, India is showing what secularism truly is. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people spoke about Ayodhya. It's interesting, is it not, about the Ram Temple, that one of the main Muslim litigants on the Ram Temple issue finally accepted that double the amount of land was actually given to the Muslim side to build a mosque compared to what was given to the Hindus to build a temple. And therefore, Iqbal Ansari showered rose petals on the Prime Minister when a roadshow was happened and the Ram Temple was consecrated. Secularism, ladies and gentlemen, is alive and well in India. Secularism is alive in many, many ways. It is alive because, do you know who's the biggest landowner in India after the government of India? It is an organization called the Catholic Church of India.
Thank you, Hindol. Thank you very
Secularism
much
is alive.
for that. Thank you. So we've had two speakers speak both for and against the motion. This is where I go across for the first time to our jury to get them to give us some sense of how it's going. Aryamar Sundaram, do you think your wards are doing a good job? What would you tell them?
Well, I think it's very determined, whatever each one is saying. They feel they're right. As far as I'm concerned, I'd like to hear what they really think secularism ought to be in India.
He wants to hear, go deeper. Shwapanda, going well, not going well? What are you liking, not liking?
It's quite fascinating. It's quite rhetorical, quite interesting. I have a few questions which I would like to ask. Maybe I'll ask it later, but just for 1 minute. When did India become secular? Was it India always secular? Or did it become secular only in 1950 or maybe in 1976? The 42nd Amendment. Second question, I'm a bit intrigued when he said, I think it was Riju who pointed out one nation, one language. He also mentioned one food. What is this one food we're talking about?
As long as you guys have some food in your plate, right? That's all that matters. Deepak, how's it going?
I think it's going fine. It would have been a little more appropriate if people had gone into the fact that secularism is always going to be a difficult concept in a deeply religious country like India. And therefore, how do you handle it? So I think a little more background would have been advisable.
Interesting. So thank you for your first comments. I just want to tell everyone as you're busy eating, remember you have to vote after this. You have this QR code. If you don't have it, just look around, find somebody who will give it to you. You need to log in, not right now. There'll be a counter. It will go for 1 minute, 20 seconds. That's when you vote and decide who carried the day. Now for our last set of speakers, speaking for the motion, secularism is dying in India. There's only one person left, so can we hear it for Ashutosh, please? Ashutosh. TV anchors are good when they're on TV. Can they be good debaters? Ashutosh, your time starts now.
I have never been a good debater, but I know how to speak. To start with, a High Court judge retires, joins BJP next day, and says he can't choose between Gandhi and Godse. Need time to think. And still we believe that secularism in India is not dying, then one has to be delusional or ideologically blind. Secularism as an idea was a defining principle of the modern India, in which every religion has to respect other, whatever faith one has. Secularism cannot discriminate. If a state starts discriminating between the different faith and the religion, there is something wrong with it. In India today, the state is discriminatory. It discriminates between different faiths and different religion. That has to be understood. In fact, today, the media is unabashedly has become communal. And I'm saying this with all my responsibility. That was the last bastion. When we started our journalism, the secularism, come what may, has to be reflected in our reports and analysis. Not anymore. And unfortunately today, when a Tomar, Manoj Kumar Tomar, when he hits somebody doing namaz in front of a mosque, then he's hailed as a hero. He's not the only one. There is one Chetan Sharma who killed 3 Muslims in a train, and he was hailed as a hero. And then there was one ragger. He burnt, he killed, and when he was to be produced in Udaipur court, for 2 hours police could not do it because the thousands of supporters had out that area. And they hoisted a flag at the top of the court. Nothing can be more bad than this. But what is worrying is that this has a sanction of the state. It is not, secularism is no longer a guarantee by the constitution. Secularism is no longer a guarantee by the government. Secularism is not Modi's guarantee today, that's unfortunate part of it. The fact of the matter is, and I still remember what Sardar Patel has written to Mr. M.S. Golwalkar on 11 September 1948. And he said, कि you Hindu, RSS is good. But the fact is, when he attacks Muslims, full of venom. And I still remember what the Golwalkar has written in his book. And he said the Muslims has to live like a second-class citizens. That's an unfortunate part of it. But those today who are in the government, they inspire from that ideology. So I don't blame Tomar, I don't blame Chetan, I don't blame Gangopadhyay. I blame the ideological system it is here today. And I dread to say this, but if this continues unhindered, India is heading for a historical accident. It's better we revive secularism, otherwise we are dead.
Thank you very much. Can we hear it, Ashutosh, please? Our last speaker now, and remember, after this, we'll have one round of interjections. The jury will speak one at a time, and then all of you vote. So I hope you're ready for that. National spokesperson of the Bharatiya Janata Party can speak no more than 3 minutes. Your time starts now. Secularism is not dying in India. Explain why.
Members of the jury, this August gathering, the opposition argues that secularism is dying in India. I want to give you a sad piece of news. Nehruvian version of secularism is dead. And I've worn black clothes so that I can reiterate that the pallbearers of Nehruvian secularism ought to know that it's never coming back. That secularism which says that women and men can't have equal rights in the name of personal laws from Shah Banu to triple talaq is dead. That secularism which says that the Uniform Civil Code should not be applied and a 9-year-old girl should get married to a 60-year-old who has 3 wives is dead and it's never coming back. That secularism which says that Tazia should come out on the streets but Durga Puja, Visarjan Yatra should not till the time the High Court has to intervene is dead, Riju Datta. And that secularism which says that the partition was secular but the CA law which was committed by Mahatma Gandhi to get the refugees back from Pakistan and Bangladesh is communal is dead. Today I ask only one question, it's Ramzan. Ya Allah, मुझे इस नेहरूवियन सेकुलरिज्म से क्या मिला? मिला तो केवल लिंचिंग और राइट्स मिला. हाशिमपुरा, भागलपुर, मीरठ, हरियाणा, भागलपुर, all of these rights, Ahmedabad, Jalgaon, Delhi, all of them happened under Nehruvian secularism's watch. 10,000 Muslims were chopped. It was almost 3,500 Sikhs who were butchered. And one Prime Minister got up and said, "Bada ped girta hai to dharti hilti hai." And Sajjan Kumar and Jagdish Tytler were defended in the name of Nehruvian secularism. I ask, what did I get in Nehruvian secularism? 0 taps, 0 toilets, 0 houses, 0 bank accounts. And today when 25 crore people are out of poverty, when 13 crore people get toilets, 13 crore people get Nal Se Jal, Shaila gets it, Sagarika gets it. Mohit gets it, Muhammad gets it. At that time, secularism khatre mein hai. I want to ask that what is this logic that when the UPA government backs for CA law, when it implements it for 2 years, when it makes a parliamentary report that the Pakistani minorities, the Bangladeshi minorities should get it, when Manmohan Singh stands up and says in Rajya Sabha that we ought to have this law, and when Mahatma Gandhi advocated for it, it is secular then, but when the BJP walks the talk, it becomes communal. I want to also ask the question that today, abusing Sanatan, you said kicking a Namazi, Ashutosh, abusing Sanatan and saying Sanatan should be eliminated. Udayanidhi Stalin said it, High Court, Supreme Court came down heavily on it. That is secularism. But kicking a Namazi is communalism. Nobody justifies that. But I ask you today, when Ram Mandir is abused, when Ramcharitmanas is abused, and if I say Sar Tan Se Juda Mat Bolo, then I am communal. But Udaynidhi Stalin saying that Sanatan should be eradicated is becoming secular. This is the double standard. Your hypocrisy should be dead, actually. When I go to a iftar party wearing a topi, I'm neither a Rozadar nor a Muslim, and I go to a state-sponsored iftar party, that is secular. But if a practicing Hindu does the Anushtana and goes to the Ram Mandir Pran Pratishtha, that becomes communal. And to answer Swapan Das Gupta, India or Bharat was not secular because of the addition of a word in the preamble. Bharat was not secular because of some Nehruvian concept of secularism. Bharat has always been secular because Bharat has a majority of Hindus, and the Hindus of this country are secular. And as long as the Hindus will be secular, Bharat will be secular. Nobody can take that away from us. Long live secularism.
Okay, good. It's good to see some camaraderie between the opposing sides. Here's what we'll do next. One of our members of the jury gets to observe, weigh in, and say something which will be responded to by either of the teams. So you can decide who wants to go first. Very brief observation, drawing from what you've heard, not from the biases that you brought or the views that you brought, drawing from what you heard, a very quick 1-minute interjection comment from any of the members of the jury. I think Aryama Sundaram has his mic up.
I actually found one person who touched on the point as to first understand what is secularism in the Indian context, and then debate the issue whether it's dying or not. Otherwise, you don't know what you're killing or what you're keeping alive. And I feel that is one thing I find that apart from probably one speaker, nobody has gone near as to what is the secularism in the Indian context.
Okay.
May I ask Ashutosh a question? He pointed out that the media has become deeply communal of late. I mean, that was one of his observations. Now, I remember a time when I started off in journalism, and we used to have lines such as, "Last Friday afternoon, a crowd of people of belonging to a particular community came out on the streets shouting, 'Din, din.'" That was the sort of, is that supposed to be secularism? Where you obfuscate, don't talk about the realities.
Yes, of course. Here, you can stay there. I'll get you the mic. But no, you can sit if you want. You have only 1 minute to answer. Okay, so there's only 1 minute to answer. Just bring the count.
That's a very typical of the right-wingers. You take one anecdote from the history and you say this is the general theory. The fact of the matter is everybody knows that how the riots were reported. Never Hindus and Muslims are ever mentioned by name. Today the chief minister mentions that. Is that secularism? Is media the way during the pandemic the minority communities were demonized in this country? Was that secularism in media? I think this is the time where we should introspect, we should find out why so much demonization. If somebody from the Kashmiri speaks a word, he's treated like an enemy on the TV channels. If somebody who's a Muslim with a dadi, he's treated like an enemy of the state. I think we have to understand, we have to introspect. And I said it, and I believe into this, that unless as a nation we realize the country is heading for a historical accident. Where will it lead? I do not know. The history is a witness for that matter. And Swapan, the fact is, you also know, and I also know, what is secularism. Secularism is a constitutional guarantee by the Constitution. It is not a Modi's guarantee, unfortunately.
Thank you, Ashutosh. No, you can't add to that because there's just one by one, and now Deepak Verma.
Question to Shehzad.
You can sit, Shehzad.
Sit.
Free country.
You ended by saying that the Hindus are secular. How do you establish that?
May I start?
You have 1 minute. Go for it. Time's clicking.
Much before the preamble had the word secularism inserted in it at the time when half of the opposition was in jail at the peak of emergency, thousands of years before that, the Parsis, a community that I am very close to, landed up on the coast of Gujarat, and they asked if they could have refuge here facing persecution from the land they came from, and the Indians, Hindus gave them refuge. In the entire world, the Jews were persecuted, especially in Western educated Europe. But the only land, the only bhumi where the Jews were not persecuted in any point of their history was the land of Bharat. And this was thousands of years ago. And therefore, India is secular because yahan ka swabhav, yahan ka janmanas secular hai. This is our existence. It is not a creation even of one word in the constitution. It is not the creation of some anglicized model of secularism that was imposed upon us. It is exactly how you are. And therefore, even if though I am a Muslim, I start my day saying, Ram Ram ji, kaise ho aap?
Thank you, Ashutosh. Now we'll have one round of interjections. This is for 1 minute and ideally made by someone who hasn't had an opportunity to pipe in so far. So, and this is not based on what you would like to say ideally because you came with a long speech and this much is left. No, not that. From what you've heard from the others, some argument that you wish to tear apart. Don't look at me. You guys are a team. Both Riju and Shama have a hand up. Look at each other and decide because your time's about to start. Let's go for it.
So Shahzad said something, that what is it against the Hindus? I want to make it clear. I'm a Muslim brought up by my father saying that Hinduism is the most tolerant religion. It's not against the Hindus. That is what we have to be clear about. It is what has happened after 2014, especially when you see in Parliament, you hear Jai Shri Ram. Vande Mataram is at the start of the session and at the end of the session. We hear it all the time. We hear Bharat Mata Ki Jai continuously. I remember Meenakshi Lekhi came to Kerala and told them, say Bharat Mata Ki Jai, Bharat Mata Ki Jai. Why do you force this on us is the question today. We want to live together. That is the most important. Mr. Sawant, the Chief Minister of Goa says, I'm sorry, I can't get you beef for 5 days. It's not available. But in Haryana, Nasser and Junaid are burned alive on suspicion of transporting cow. So what's happening in this country? What we see is secularism means all religions are equal and all of them should be given equal opportunity. Nobody is against. The ecosystem started in 2014 because there is no condemnation from the top.
So thank you for that, Shama. I just also want to tell our debaters and everyone sitting here that you can use the interjection to actually put somebody on the mat by asking him a question which he needs to respond to, which is based on something that he said, but you didn't do that, which is fine as well. We now have somebody from the against team making an interjection. Hindol has the mic out. Go for it.
Since I'm the only one interested in history, professionally at least, let's make a historical point. A lot of people mention Nathuram Godse. Perhaps they don't know that Nathuram Godse in court gave a statement saying he stood for a secular version of India, and he said he never wanted any mixing of religion with politics in India. This is recorded statement of Nathuram Godse. He said he objected to Gandhi because of what happened with Pakistan and India and the division of the country, but he personally always stood for a division between politics and religion. And the other point I really wanted to make was Pragya Thakur was mentioned. Well, actually Pragya Thakur's case is a wonderful example of how secularism is alive. She said something, lo behold, she doesn't have a ticket today. So, you know, in my mind, this is a perfect example of secularism. You do something, well, you don't have a ticket. What better could be? What better?
Okay, thank you, Hindol, for that. You know, lots of people who are sitting here are messaging, and some who are watching on digital and social are messaging. So I'll use my perch as the session chair to ask Shaila Rashid this question. Many people are messaging me and saying, Shaila ko kya hua? Given what she was and who she was earlier as a trenchant critic of the Modi government, they're saying, is this discovery of secularism or is this pressure? Shaila Rashid, 1 minute, go for it.
So it's quite clear that the last 10 years have not been an easy conversation between the government and the Muslims. But what we need to realize is that what has ended, the era that is over, that we are talking about, is an era of tokenism. What has ended is lip service to the Muslim cause. Now, let me give you a small example. The scheduled caste reservation, for example, does not include Muslims. And this was the golden age of secularism under Congress. But now we see the EWS reservation. Does it discriminate against Muslims? Does it leave out Muslims? It does not. So for example, the PM Vishwakarma scheme, if you look at it, it has 18 crafts listed under which youth are given training and they are given some per diem and they are given some livelihood. Now, these crafts are primarily practiced by Pasmanda Muslims, but the scheme doesn't say that. So, actions speak louder than words. That is what has changed. Earlier, we used to have only words. Now we have actions. Without paying lip service, without saying Muslim, 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 the government is teaching us, it is enabling us to stand on our own feet. That is what has changed.
Okay, so thank you, Shaila, for that. We're coming now to the business end of this debate. I just want to tell our debaters that you have 1 minute each for final comments. One person from both teams, whoever's not spoken, ideally that. Before that, from the jury, your final comments, and then the voting. So whoever wants to speak first. Just 1 minute
final
each.
Comments,
1 minute
I think all of them are quite passionate in whatever they've said. I just want to ask a question. How does saying Bharat Mata Ki Jai or Vande Mataram undermine Muslims?
Aryama Sundaram.
Since everybody has a minute to answer, I want to ask you all a question. Do you think the question of secularism being under attack or not being under attack is because India seems to have made a departure from what is the philosophy of secularism? The philosophy of secularism is the state is not, disassociates itself from religion. It is actually a passive role the state plays. Whereas the Indian Constitution appears to lead, as was said by a 9-judge bench in the Supreme Court, to a positive concept in India whereby the state participates with one rule. The state does not have ethical morality. It does not have religious morality. It has constitutional morality. And constitutional morality means that political parties cannot bring religion into their political agenda because that is, I'm quoting the Supreme Court, constitutionally impermissible and therefore constitutionally immoral. I would like it if anybody can comment as to whether this is
you
the
have to
cause
do this.
of our
Remember,
problem.
in the concluding comments that one of you makes, you have to respond to the jury and what you've heard. It's not what you're itching to say, because everybody's already got his hand up and they're itching to say something. It's not necessarily what you're itching to say. It's in response to what you have, because we have a very smart audience, and the sharpest minds sitting out in the audience, they'll be judging you. So respond to what you're hearing from the jury.
Ask Aryaman, has faith got to be vetted by the Supreme Court?
You know, I have a plan. We set up a separate debate on the sidelines and do an adda. Swapan Das Gupta versus Aryama Sundaram. Who's joining me for that later? That'll be fun as well.
On
That'll
a
be great.
lighter vein, if you gave the Supreme Court a chance to decide it, they would.
Oh, we can have the 9-judge constitution bench of the Supreme Court weighing in on this, and we can have Swapan and Aryama argue on both sides. That'll be a lot of fun. Our Law Today team would be very excited about that. Deepak Verma, final comments. Any particular direction you wish to take this debate in, and then final words. Mike.
I would have expected that people talk about the difficulty of having a Western concept like secularism incorporated into India. And the original debates in the Constituent Assembly about that. So that is something which did not come out at all during the conversations.
Deepak's not very impressed with the whole debate. He's like, okay, we'll hopefully, the debaters will, in the last chance they have, rise to the moment. It doesn't necessarily need to be somebody who hasn't spoken. It could be anybody in the team, whoever wants to have a go, to speak first or against the motion. No, so because we started with speaking for, so this time we'll start with against. So speaking against the motion that secularism is dying, and then you can, because we started with you, we'll end with you. So here's your chance. You have only 1 minute. Shehzad Poonawalla, the last speaker, the last comment, after which is audience voting. Shehzad Poonawalla, explain, based on what you heard from the jury, why you think secularism is not dying. Your time starts now.
Because we veered around the Gandhi-Godse debate, and let me tell you what was the Gandhian concept of secularism. The Gandhian concept of secularism was, he himself said, Ram Rajya hona chahiye. His final words were, Hey Ram. He wanted that the cow slaughter should be prohibited. But the Nehruvian form of secularism even dumped Gandhi, and by the way, the only person who's built a Godse Mandir, Babulal Chaurasia, is in the Congress party, and he continues to be there. So that much about their Godse love. But having said that, this is the true idea of secularism that the Congress party departed from, and which we are returning to today. And only one last point, exposing the hypocrisy. These people call themselves secular. They have allied with Uddhav Sena, which destroyed the Babri Masjid, according to them. They are allied with the Muslim League in Kerala, from where she comes from. And they are allied with ISF Furfura Sharif, who said he wanted Hindus' blood in West Bengal. This is their secularism. And our secularism is very simple, that the concept of our Vedas, the secularism is imbibed in that. That is the secularism. Ram and Krishna are on the pages of the constitution, but they say Ram ji ke baare mein baat karna is communal. This is where Congress is at.
Okay, thank you. So our last speaker, the last 1 minute of this debate, and then we do the voting. You can come here, Riju. He got this debate off to a flying start. Let's see how he wraps this all up. Your time starts now. Final comments speaking for the motion that secularism is dying in India.
On a topic when secularism is dying in India, my dear friend from the BJP spoke about how many toilets were built and how many taps were built. Well, Shehzad, if you are in power for 2 consecutive terms and the majority of 150 crore people are voting for you, pardon my French, but that's your bloody job to do. Secondly, Hinduism does not need protection. We have survived. We have survived the Mughals, we have survived the British, and we will survive the BJP as well. It's a religion of compassion, generosity, and we are all in it together. But that does not mean we will undermine somebody else to make us look superior. I am a practicing Hindu. I have learnt my religion from my parents and from my grandparents. The self-declared custodians of Hinduism do not understand that Hinduism traverses them all. And it will stay even after them, even after me, even after this country. Hinduism will stay here forever. But what Hinduism does not teach us is to undermine others to make us look superior. And if you want
Ladies
to know
and gentlemen, with that we come to an end of this debate. Thank you very much for joining us for the first Knives Out Conclave debate. Can we have a very big round of applause for our debaters? You know, and I just want to say, before we begin the voting, that it doesn't really matter who won or lost. Just the fact that they came, they made the arguments that they did. For us, they're all winners. But of course, there must be a winner, and somebody gets a pen and somebody gets something much fancier than that, right? So let's do that now. So this QR code that I spoke of is now going to come on your screen. So if you can zoom in and download the QR code from the screen, fantastic. Remember, once this starts, you have only 120 seconds to conclude. So I hope that everyone's got that tech game spot on, right? And you also have this QR code on the table in front of you. So just pick out your phone, go to the QR code, and then start to vote. So I hope you're all ready. We're just kind of building it up because you actually have just that limited amount of time once this gets kick-started to conclude your voting. If you aren't able to conclude, then we can't really help you because that's just the way it is. And because this screen may be too far away from some of you, therefore this sheet of paper is also somewhere near you, or you could just reach out and get one from someone who's nearby. But hopefully our tech team's done a great job and you're being able to download straight from that QR code. The question is, secularism is dying in India. That's the motion that we've been debating. You've heard from, say, you guys can't vote. I hope you're not, Shahzad bhai, you're not voting, right? Oh, I thought he's like, okay.
I have a 5 p.m. on his channel. I'm giving the time for that.
The biggest concern is I hope elections aren't rigged and I hope the debaters aren't voting for themselves, right? That's not allowed. So don't do that. Yeah, I don't know. I hope our EVM is good. I hope our EVM is good. We have confidence in the India Today Group digital tech team. They've done a good job and hopefully it's working out really fine. Okay, so you have 116 seconds left. Okay? 116 seconds left. It's on your screen right now, and this is live voting. So as you keep pumping in your answers, this keeps changing. You get to vote only once. You can't change your mind. At this moment, 21% of the respondents are saying secularism is dying in India. 75% are saying no, secularism is not dying. 4% seem confused because they can't say. I mean, how can you not say? You just heard a great debate. You cannot possibly say you can't say. Who are these 3%? Not loud. Or maybe they didn't get any food and they're upset because India wale ne khana nahi khilaya. So don't do that. I hope you're voting. Now 22%, secularism is dying. It's going up just, I think the no's really just went out and voted straight up. The other team is getting their votes out very slowly. We've got 68 seconds to go. I don't know what Shehzad is doing. He's looking very dangerous. He's like, you know, मैं अपनी army को लगाया था because this QR code, if you try online, I don't know if you can do it from home. I hope he doesn't have the full BJP army doing that. Download the QR code from social and digital and then vote. He's already passed whatever message he had to. Their toolkit is already activated if required. Or it could just be all of you. It could also just be all of you.
EVM hack करने की
EVM
जरूरत
hack
नहीं
नहीं है,
है.
जनता ही hacked है. Okay, fine. We've got 43 seconds to go before we wrap up this debate. If you haven't voted still, please do. This is your last chance. And I hope it's only people who are here who are voting, because that's the whole idea. You can't, I mean, you can, I suppose, if you're elsewhere and you were really quick, like a quick gun, Murugan, you pulled it out, looked at the QR code, you could do it from outside as well. 26 seconds to go. Is secularism dying in India? You know, this is where, is Rajdeep here? Because Rajdeep gets really excited. He says, I can call the election. That's when everyone else at the back end gets really worried, saying, don't call the election because it can change. But Rajdeep says, agar 11 seconds mein nahi hua, to ab change nahi hoga. And I think that's quite correct. So on the motion of whether secularism is dying in India, the India Today Knives Out debate, the results are in front of us. 76% of the respondents who are present over here, hopefully with no fixing, no hacking, no toolkits, they've come to the conclusion that secularism, in fact, is not dying in India. So they've carried this motion. Can we have a very warm round of applause, please? Very warm round of applause. Good to see some camaraderie between our debaters. I now want to call our team with the awards and the prizes, and can we get the members of the jury to give away the awards to the winning team? So if you can just come here. Arima Sundaram, Shwapan Das Gupta, Deepak Verma. Can we have a round of applause for them as well, please? And can we call our winning team first? Shehzad Punawala, Hindol Sen Gupta, Sheila Rashid, and those fancy gifts for our winners for making so much of an effort. And just give it to the gift. So you can come. Sheila, please come. Shwapanda. There's a lot of pehle aap happening. Huh? There's a kind of formed good camaraderie and teamsmanship. Sir, unko de do, please. Ek karke de do. Yes, thank you. Yes. So thank you very much. It's a group photograph. That's the winning team. Can we have a round of applause for our winners, please? They argued against the motion that secularism is dying, and they carried the debate at Knives Out. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please come back. Can we have the team that fought hard but didn't carry this motion, couldn't win the audience? Can we have Riju Datta here, please? Shama Mohammad, Ashutosh, please come. No, just give it to the jury, and they'll give it to the guests. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. So please come back. If the jury can just stay with us, can we have the last three? Can we have a token of appreciation for our jury, please? Can I invite Kali Puri to come, our Managing Director, Executive Editor-in-Chief. It was her idea that we do this Knives Out conclave debate. So can we have a round of applause, please? And can you bring the last three gifts for our jury? Starting with Shwapan Das Gupta. Arima said, I've never missed court on a Friday afternoon. This is a very expensive debate. So thank you for that, Arima. And Deepak Verma. Thank you very much. Can we have everyone coming here for one photograph? 5 minutes. She came with the full...
Let's put it together for Rahul
Arey,
for moderating this. Put it together for Rahul for moderating this.
हो गया भाई, हो गया, शहजाद भाई, हो गया, जीत गए आप. Okay, can you all stand and can we get a photograph? And thank you very much. I hope you guys had great fun. Thank you for participating.